You guys just you keep coming around. I just keep hearing about you guys.
And I might need to tell Ryan to cut that up a little bit and just put it in my audio for my phone.
First of all, I love the game. I had a passion to play the game, not only football, but I love the game of golf. And what it lends to a person and the friendships you develop on the golf course.
It's been a pleasure being on the drop. I wish you guys all the best down the road.
As someone like you have that golf itch like a lot of us do.
I keep track of you, and you are moving. You are on the move.
So listen, I'm a big New Jersey golf guy. You're very kind, Mike, and you too, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be on just a couple of Jersey boys here talking about something we love. All the best. I really enjoyed it.
This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back to Interview Thursday. Mike and I have a special guest for you, Christina Parsells. But she's got quite an interesting resume for someone who's only 28 years old. She's kind of bounced around. She's with the USGA now. She does some what's the word I'm looking for, Mike? Where she kind of consulting kind of work for different companies and kind of starting her own brand. She's new on the board to New Jersey golf, so she's got her hand in a lot of little, or her hands got a little reach there in a lot of different pots, and yeah, she's a name to watch out for in the golf world.
Yeah, listen, I think she's championing a lot of things for the women in the state of New Jersey and finding different ways to grow the game in that avenue, whether it's through youth golf or females in the mid-am game. She's figuring it out, and I think it's a perfect addition for the New Jersey Golf Board to land someone like her who's young, who's motivated, who's energized, to bring a different outlook to that. So yeah, her story is quite something, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure. So without further ado, here's our interview with Christina Parsells. Enjoy.
Think about your caddy on the course. Their job is to take decisions and stress off your shoulders so you can focus on the shot in front of you. For the Drop Podcast, that's where Thrive comes in, your trusted partner in technology outsourcing. Just like a great caddy, Thrive knows the course ahead. They lift the burden of IT off your shoulders so you can stay locked in on what matters most, running your business. The truth is, 1/3 of businesses will unknowingly hand over sensitive data to thieves this year. And when it happens, it's not just files at risk. It's your customers' trust, your bank accounts, even the very foundation of your company. The damage can be catastrophic, and you often won't realize it until the ransom demand is sitting in your inbox. That's why your business needs Thrive. At The Drop, we rely on their managed security services to proactively protect our network, monitor threats around the clock, and give us the confidence to focus on our work. Because when it comes to cybersecurity, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Get your no obligation security recommendations and consultation today at thrivenextgen.com/the drop. That's thrivenextgen.com/the drop. All right, so today we're joined by Christina Parsells, Somerset Hills member, Georgetown Golf alum, 2024 New Jersey Women's Mid-Am Champion, recently a USGA Women's Mid-Am Qualifier, and newly appointed member of the New Jersey Golf Board. Christina, thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to talk to you both.
Yeah, Christina, this is, I'd say, well overdue. It's good to have you on and glad you could join us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's kind of start at the beginning. Talk a little bit about your background, how you got into golf, what inspired you to kind of make it a somewhat career. Talk a little bit about how you got involved with the game.
So I grew up in a golf family. Both my parents loved to play golf. My grandparents love golf. I totally grew up with golf in the blood, but definitely not like in an overly, my family's very competitive. I've got some great athletes in the family, but no one had no one works in golf. No one had a long competitive run in golf, but it's always just been around. I was lucky enough to grow up going to country clubs and grow up my summer days growing up as a kid. I remember doing the country club triathlon camps. We would do like a quarter of the day at the pool, then you go to the tennis courts, then the golf course and whatever. And so I always grew up around the game. And growing up, I also luckily had a really good friend, another girl who like I loved to play golf with. So like I was always going to the course with her or trying to like figure out another way that we could play 3 holes together. Like, so golf was always really like a fun thing growing up in my life. But I played a lot of other sports. Definitely wasn't like, I didn't consider it my sport growing up until I actually played field hockey. And I hurt both my knees. So my it was right before I was in 8th grade, so I was still young. But my doctor was like, okay, Christina, for the entire summer, you can't run. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do? And my dad was like, you're going to play golf. It's going to be great. Yeah. So I played golf and I became obsessed, like addicted, to the point where I would tell my parents to drop me off before they were going to work and then pick me up, like after they were done with work. And I would just like pound balls. Like I just became obsessed and a range rat and just like really addicted to it. And then started getting to the point where I would like enter into a few tournaments. And that was really my entrance into like the competitive scene, realizing that I was actually like kind of good. And then like, getting that bug where you play in one tournament and you don't play well and then you need to play in another. So I caught on pretty quickly, that I liked golf, and then ditched field hockey and golf became my thing, all through high school. And then I went to Kent Place, which is an all girls school in Summit, and golf team definitely like, they're not known for their golf team. But I did have like some great friends on the team. But golf in high school for me was really like all solo over the summer, that sort of thing. Like high school was really like high school golf was fun, but summer traveling to like AJGAs or whatever I could get into was really the name of the game. And then I just told myself I really wanted to get into a great college and I really wanted to play great college golf. And I just told myself, let's use golf to get into the best school we can. And that ended up being Georgetown.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah, that was great. I actually, it sort of is a funny story. I was interested in Georgetown in the beginning and they weren't really interested in me. So I was looking at other schools, sort of just thought Georgetown wasn't going to happen, wasn't even considering it anymore. And was actually going to be verbally committed to Yale, and got a call from the Georgetown coach who said, like, we have a spot that opened up. Why don't you come at least visit the school? I had never even visited. So I went and visited, and long story short, loved the school, and luckily with the support of both coaches was able to get recruited by them and like make that switch. But like right off the bat, I loved the school. I loved DC. And then I loved the coach and the team, and just the girls. I like could immediately see myself there. And that was really fun. I met my best friends on the team. So like, I loved playing college golf. It was really fun. It's crazy. I graduated in 2019. So that was 6 years ago, which is wild. But I really loved my time on the team. But yeah, so that was sort of my like lead up to college, and that's how I found my way to college. Should I keep going bring us to present?
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay.
I love like how she was like 6 years ago she graduated college, and that's wild. And we're like, wait until later.
Yeah. Kind of embarrassed to admit my age. She said she's like young, and I'm like, you're still young. I'm like the old guy here.
No,
There's a phrase I keep holding on to. Someone said once, and it says, life is like toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. And man, it's 100% true.
Yeah, true.
So talk to us a little bit after Georgetown. When you leave Georgetown, what makes you say like, hey, listen, is it a possibility to kind of make golf a career? You know, the USGA I know was on your radar. I know it ended up becoming a job. And then also the golfing and the competitive side. Like, talk to me a little bit about like the lead up to the now.
Yeah, so at Georgetown, I really had no idea what I wanted to study. Georgetown is like formatted in that when you're in the undergraduate school, they have a few different schools that you can be in that sort of can narrow down your like your studies. So they have their school in foreign service, which makes sense because they're in DC and it's probably their most popular undergraduate school. They have a nursing program and they have a business school, and then they have the general liberal arts school college. I chose to go into the business school like with no other thought other than business, and who knows like where that'll take me, but it's a little specific. And so I really was that kid that had no clue what they wanted to do after school. I was like focused on golf for the time being and the present, and like getting through my classes, and that was that. I jumped around majors, ironically, because it's what I do now. I started with a marketing major, and then ended up doing a data analytics major, and then switched over to finance, which is eventually what I graduated with. All to say, I really had no clue what I wanted to do, but I'm definitely like a numbers person at heart. So that was always like the common thread. But as I got, like, as the years progressed in college, I, over the summers, started, instead of my first summer after freshman year, I played in the USAM. Second summer after sophomore year, I played another USAM. Summer after junior year, got an internship. So there was like a switch where I was playing a lot of competitive golf, and then I sort of made that switch where I realized, okay, I'm not going to play golf after college. Like I know that about myself. It's time for me to focus on like what I'm actually going to do after college. So I started playing a little less competitive golf over the summers and focusing on what my post-grad situation would be. Ended up after graduation. So I interned for NBC in ad sales one summer, and then for UBS in private wealth. Still following the trend of no clue what I wanted to do, just sort of, testing the waters with things. Ended up graduating with my finance degree and wanting to work in sports, but really, or golf if I was lucky, but really still like feeling very lost and not knowing at all what I wanted to do. I had a very hard time finding a job after college, and to the point where I actually went back to school and did it's called a micro master's program in business analytics with Columbia. It was fully online, and then COVID hit. And
I was going to say, like, if you're trying to get a job at the beginning of COVID, It's got to be very difficult.
Yeah. So talk about like, it was hard to find a job. Now it's kind of impossible. And I ended up getting a job at a marketing agency that was in Manhattan. I always knew after school that I wanted to move back at least to New Jersey because it's the best state, or go to New York. And so I ended up finding this job at a marketing agency in Manhattan. And it really, the clients that would come to it would be anything from like a construction company to a credit card company to a financial institution. Nothing to do with sports, but it was a job. And so I took it, and it was like my segue into something. What the job really became was in this like post-COVID world, a lot of the clients were coming to this agency wanting to develop a social media presence, and they didn't have social media before, but COVID, the digital, just the boom of people being connected digitally, all of these companies that you wouldn't really like connect with social media ended up wanting to figure out how they could use social to make money, or at least build brand awareness. And so that became my role within the agency, was working with these types of clients on the social media side of things. And I enjoyed it, but I was starting to, after college, I was really burnt out of golf. And so I didn't really mind like not working in golf off the bat or working in sports off the bat. But as time progressed, as we got through COVID, and I built a golf course in our backyard. So I was like, the bug was back. But by the time I had started working again, I sort of started realizing I wanted golf or sports, but hopefully golf, to be at least part of my life in some way. So I went on Twitter one day and I looked up a bunch of people who I thought had really cool jobs, mostly in the golf world, but just the sports world in general. Really any type of job, but I just started following them on Twitter. And one person, Stina Sternberg, she was the vice president of digital content at Golf TV at the time. She tweeted that Golf Digest was looking for someone to join their social media team. So I tracked down the thread of who the hiring manager was and DM'd her, basically hoping that I would get an interview. And a few interviews later, got the job. So that was my segue into working in sports, working in golf, sorry. And it was through social media, literally, I'm working in social media, but definitely not a path that I would have thought. Social media was not a path I would have ever thought I would go with my career. And then I really would never have thought that that's how I would get my first job in golf. It was just, randomly through the luck of DMing someone. But that's how I ended up working in golf. And I was on the social media team at Golf Digest for 2 years, and I loved it. It was really fun for me because I never was really someone who, I'm totally an introvert. And so being able to have social media as my career, but in a topic that I'm so passionate about, really has helped me as a person, come out of my shell in a way. But then also it's just something that I genuinely love to wake up and talk about and do. So I really from the beginning knew I was really passionate about the social media side of the golf world. And it was just growing so fast, especially out of COVID, including the boom of female golfers that were coming to the game. It was just it was an exciting time for me to also be coming out of my own burnout with the game. It was just, everything was going in the right direction.
Perfect storm.
Yes, it was the perfect storm. Yeah, it was great. And then I was starting to play in some more tournaments and all that, and getting the competitive juices were flowing again. But it's obviously tough when you're living in Manhattan. I was living in Tribeca at the time, and going into the office 4 days a week. And it just you can only be so good at golf when you're living in a big city like that. And that was coming out of playing at such a high level for so long, and then trying to enter into the competitive scene again, but with the bar still so high, at least for my personal self, setting the bar so high. That took a while to get used to readjusting my expectations, and just knowing that I could still perform with a lot less practice. Took some getting used to for me. That was tough. Even just playing casually, it was like tough for me to like figure out. But back to my career. I was at Golf Digest for 2 years and then started to browse around for like my next opportunity. And one of my good friends also in the golf world sent me this USGA, a link to the USGA's job page saying that they were hiring for someone to manage their championship social media. And internally, they sort of separate things. Anything that has to do with a championship is on one side, and anything that has to do with what they call brand. So the rules, handicapping, everything like that is sort of on another in terms of communications and marketing and that side of things. So they're hiring someone to manage their championship social media, and a few interviews later, I ended up getting the job. It was nice for a few reasons, but also I was a little. It was definitely like a different direction for me. Ironically, the USGA is headquartered out in Far Hills, which is the town next to where I grew up. I grew up in Bernardsville, but I was still living in Manhattan at the time, so internally I was sort of like, okay, this is a great job, great opportunity, but I don't want to move back home. I feel like I don't know. Is it backwards? Is it forward? I don't really know. But I would get to play a lot more golf because it's out in the suburbs. And I was also, though, like, as I was playing a lot more golf anyway, I had this realization, like, with myself that, like, I'm not really a city person anyway. So it was, once again, sort of a perfect storm for me with the timing of it. I did my time in the city, and then I was, like, able to move back out and, play more golf and have a better, like, enhanced career move for me. So I was at the USGA for 2 years. I managed their championship social and then went on to oversee their championship content as a whole. That job in of itself was like incredible for me. It was really like up until then that was my dream job. Like that was like the goal. As a golfer, like when you think of the highest golf organization or tournament, like you think of a USGA championship, especially as an amateur golfer. Like that's the pinnacle of amateur golf and of championship golf, and like that being able to be on the inside of it and like bring my expertise from that perspective was really like the best opportunity for me. I learned so much when I was there. I met so many great people. I traveled to like so many great golf courses, got to play some great golf along the way. It was really great opportunity. I ended up, as I was about like a year and a half in, I started to just like on my own and like with my personal social media, I would share golf clothing recommendations and like golf advice for female golfers, not with no intent of like being an influencer or anything like that, but just because as someone who works in social, I'm like constantly, scrolling social, needing to know the trends and whatever. And I started like really realizing how big of a resource it could be for all these like girls and women that were coming to the game. And for my own benefit, I use social media to like search for great golf pants and all that. So started just sharing my own recommendations on there. And then the marketing side of me was kind of like, okay, if you're going to do that, you should at least make, some affiliate money from it. So I ended up starting a blog that where I would like link my clothing recommendations and send people to. So really very much like as a side hustle, and just sort of like something that was fun.
This is the partnership we've been waiting for. Jersey Mike's meets The Drop, New Jersey's golf podcast. Two Garden State staples finally on the same team. Matt Catania and John Helm own the Jersey Mike's locations in Brick and Toms River, and they're not just slinging subs, they're golfers. They've supported local golf charities and events for years, alongside their incredible store managers who share that same love for the game. These guys believe in community, in giving back, and in doing things the right way, which is why they're now official partners of the show. So next time you're near Brick or Toms River, swing by, grab your go-to sub, and support the stores that are helping grow the game right here in New Jersey. Jersey Mike's, a sub above, and proud supporters of the Drop podcast, talking golfing in the Garden State. One of the highlights of the 2025 golf season was the first ever New Jersey Heroes Tour, operated by the New Jersey Golf Foundation, the charitable arm of the New Jersey PGA section. With more than 140 members, the Heroes Tour delivered a fun and competitive tournament schedule for military veterans, active duty military personnel, and first responders, including law enforcement, EMTs, and firefighters. Proceeds from the Heroes Tour go directly to support PGA Hope, helping our patriots everywhere. PGA Hope is a weekly rehabilitative program for veterans that is changing and saving the lives of Americans' heroes in New Jersey and nationwide. Led by New Jersey PGA professionals, PGA Hope is currently offered in 15 counties across the state, while positively impacting more than 500 veterans annually. To support the New Jersey Golf Foundation, please visit njgolffoundation.org or call 732-465-1212. That's njgolffoundation.org or 732-465-1212.
At the same time, I was making a lot of connections with founders of golf retail startups. So many companies have been started since COVID in the golf space that are just like changing the game. Not even to mention the amount of women's golf clothing brands that have started, but so many like new brands are popping up in golf. Golf's totally like taken on a facelift. And I started to develop a lot of relationships with these new business owners that were developing these golf brands. And some of them would even like see my actual work background and ask me for advice on content to use for their next ad, or what they should budget for their next month's ad campaign on Instagram, random questions. And I started to realize that I was getting very like personally connected to how they were doing and feeling very invested in like wanting to know their progress. And more so than that, it was sort of fueling that like competitive fire in me. Like, all right, you've made X this year. Let's see if we can make 2X next year. I really wanted to help them. And so I started looking for jobs at one of these like smaller golf companies. And the common thread that I was noticing was these companies needed this type of help. They needed this someone to help with their marketing. But they didn't have the budget to hire someone full time. So I took a risk and I said, if I can find enough of these companies to take on as clients and make it a full-time job for myself, then I'll leave the USGA and take that risk and go from there. So I made the jump over a year ago. It was August of last year. And it's been a little over a year now that I've been working with all smaller, some very startup to more established golf retail brands, although they're not all in the retail space now, the companies that I'm working with, but helping them with their growth marketing, whatever that can be, from organic social media to newsletter and email campaigns to paid digital advertising on Google and social media, Shopify management. What I also started doing in the background was that blog that I mentioned that was like my personal little, like fun side hustle. I started like teaching myself some more things through that. Like I opened up a Shopify page connected to it so I could poke around in Shopify and sort of like start teaching myself things, and also like learn some things while I'm also helping actual brands do this. Let's see if I can experiment with things on my own, like free time, and like see if I can keep learning things. So I'm not experimenting with, clients, but I can just experiment with like my side hustle. So it's like I'm
sure the clients appreciated that too.
Yeah. I think that's for the best. But like these apps and like Facebook and Meta and like even Shopify, like they're always changing and improving. And now like AI is a whole thing, but they're always changing like what they're offering to you. So I just like, I wanted to keep learning, and not shut that side of my brain down. So my side hustle in of itself has turned into a pretty like fun business, that it's just nice that now that I have my business, my marketing business, I'm able to like devote more time to the things that I also have realized I really want to like spend time doing, like the business or playing more competitive golf, all of which I've been able to do. So that's what I've been doing now. And it's been great. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's never one path that fits everybody, and clearly when you kind of dabble in a little bit of everything, you start to find really what you enjoy doing, and ultimately it sounds like you've gotten to that point. But I think the other thing to me that kind of interests me is obviously throughout that journey that you just described of finding the job that kind of suits what you're looking for, whether it's consulting, whether it's marketing, whether it's kind of growing what you got going on your end. You also go out and play very good golf in this span of time, because not even so much to what you've done recently, but you also won the 2024 New Jersey Golf Women's Mid-Am. Like, there's things that are going on outside of just a career to where golf clearly is finding its way on your radar, to whether it's practicing, playing more. Talk a little bit about the golf side of things as well.
Yeah. I definitely like found or refound my love of golf, which sounds cheesy, but like very much. I was so burned out after college. Like had no interest in looking at a golf club, which was so sad. Because I had like played such incredible golf up until that point, but I just needed that break, which a lot of people go through. But once I got that like competitive itch back, I mentioned earlier, it took me a while to reevaluate how I should be setting my expectations for myself and like set that bar realistically. I always thought that I was the golfer that like didn't have like was not naturally skilled. I always practiced so much that I just assumed that I had to always practice or else I wouldn't be good. And to a certain point, that's true. But you set yourself up naturally and then you go from there. And I never let myself get back to the natural part because I was always practicing so much that I became scared of how I would play if I just relied on that, if that makes sense. So I think when I was able to finally start playing and not really not being afraid of what would happen if I like just went out and didn't hit balls before the round and just was a casual golfer and just see what I could scrap together. I realized how scrappy I was. And that sort of also became the fun of it, in realizing that like I didn't have to practice that much or spend that much time, and I could still like be scrappy out there and still make a birdie and like still improve. My short game is the best now that it's ever been, and I like never really practice it nearly as much as I used to. But like, I never let myself rely on my like natural athletic ability because I was always so regimented in my practice. Which was very interesting for me to realize. And it's made the game more fun now. Because I can trust myself a little more. And I just love mid-amateur golf too. Now that I'm 28 now, so it's been 3 years, but once I like got to cross into the mid-am world and realizing all the mid-am opportunities that are out there, not to mention I like continue to meet more women each year, like in the mid-amateur scene, which is really fun. And the mid-am scene is so fun too. But I just love mid-amateur golf too because of all the stories and all the reasons that people aren't getting to practice but are still performing. Like it's so much more thrilling than I ever thought it could be.
And you're finding women who are in your position. They're working,
yeah, totally.
they're playing, they played at a high level. They too probably had a tough time bringing those expectations down and how they're dealing with it, and all the stuff that you kind of talked about in leading up to now, where you are now.
Yeah, and like to that point, women that are still out playing in tournaments genuinely because they want to, and like they just love the game that much, and like that's really what mid-amateur golf is about. Like you're out there, you're paying to be out there because you really like still value that competitive golf and like the competitive spirit, and especially like to see women doing that, I think it's really cool.
The other thing I want to talk about is obviously a new board has been elected for New Jersey Golf. And, Ryan and I have crossed paths with so many people on that board now, and obviously Dave Cronheim himself, but you're on there. And I know one of the conversations that Ryan and I had with Rod McCrae, the former president, is about finding ways to get more women and more girls involved in the game, and having you come on board was a big, point of emphasis for them. Being someone that's young, that's good at golf, that has the social media background and kind of understands that, what are some things that you're able to bring to the table to kind of maybe enhance the women's game directly here in the state?
Yeah, I'm so excited to be on the board. New Jersey Golf, by the way. I'm like itching to get started because it's sort of like I loved being at the USGA and like being part of a golf association, and now to be back with a golf association and see things now like from a better perspective than ever before. And now to be involved at like a higher level where I can actually look at everything from as a whole and see how like the pieces of the puzzle all come together for an association that's still growing and like improving so dramatically year after year is very exciting. I think that, so when I think about specifically women's golf, and just how far it's come, but how far it still has to go, there are just so many opportunities to approach women from so many different angles who enjoy the game, but maybe haven't found the game from a traditional sense. Maybe it's not the wives of the members now. The women are the members, and it's women who are playing because they have some girlfriends who play in a league and they want to join. There's just so many different avenues to approach female golfers now than ever before. Like my brand, Flag and Boat, for example, we sell Pilates socks with little golf sayings on them, and there's so many women out there who play golf so casually, and they also happen to go to Pilates, and that's an entry point to get to golfers. Is find them somewhere else in their daily routine that isn't even related to golf. But there's just so many different avenues to find female golfers now, and that's like really exciting. I think on the flip side of that, the competitive women that still exist, specifically like the women sort of around my age range, like you're out of college, but you're not you still are playing at that high level, the opportunities drastically go down. I continue to think about men's like invitational tournaments that I can count on like both hands, all of the great invitationals that exist for men mid-amateur golfers. Even like, around the New Jersey area, but then you go down south, and men can go down south in the winter and play in these great invitationals. And for women, I can think of like 3. And I think to get women, to help women and provide opportunities for women at that stage in their golf career, there's still such an opportunity. I started Women's Invitational this year, actually. The Flag and Bow Invitational. Somerset Hills was nice enough to host it for us for the first year. And it was a women's mid-amateur tournament. It was 18 holes of stroke play. And we had 40 women come. And the woman who won, actually, Jackie Rogowitz, she is a member out at Marion. She ended up shooting the competitive course record at Somerset, 67. We played from the white tees, which was like 6,200 yards, I think. But it was just like a great event, but speaks to the fact that like women are coming. If you give women an opportunity to do something, they will come, and they'll bring friends, and like it's going to be a thing. And the opportunities are there. They just need to be presented to the women.
So, Christina, the board's obviously bringing you on to kind of find these avenues, right? And like you said, like the Pilates socks and this this invitational. Can you give us any insight? Do you have anything else that you're going to kind of press to the board, like, hey, this is something we can do, or we got to hide that stuff?
If you have any ideas, you can like feed them through me.
I do love the idea of the invitational. I don't know if I could think of any. And to your point, like we talk about so many people that are going to events like the Ike and things like that. Like there's just so many of them.
Yeah. Us women need some. I think that there's a lot that we can do for women on like the more casual side. So whether that's like hosting, what I really want to do, actually, I'll give you my big idea. I would love to have sort of like a golf, picture like a farmer's market, but for women-owned golf brands to show up at like, let's say like a 5-iron location or some golf themed location. And just sort of like set up like a shopping happy hour with women-owned golf retail brands can pop up and have little booths, and women can shop, and it can sort of be that like way more casual like gathering and community feel for female golfers. I think like that's a fun angle to hit women at. It's just like instead of always having, like another nine and dine or something like that, meet them where they're at. And I think there's a lot more opportunities to do that. I'm getting creative with that one, but I have some ideas.
I absolutely love that idea. Mike, I don't even know if you remember this, but early on when we started this podcast, I said that there's not enough non-competitive things for golfers, and I don't even mean like if someone wants to play in this, the state tournament, right? You got to have a certain handicap, and all of those people are high levels. They enjoy that, but you're missing like the middle of the road person, I think, that wants to play in more, have some kind of competition, but they know they're not very good, like the mid handicap, the 10 to 18 that still likes to have a little competition, but also likes to have fun with it. And I think that the state going to those like member golf days is something that's been an avenue for that. But it sounds like on the women's side, this is another kind of avenue that you're going to be hitting, like a new, again, demographic that you're looking to tap into.
Yeah, to your point about the golf days, I think there's a lot of more opportunities for like mixed events, like co-ed, like with men and women. Like my pipe dream is that the USGA starts a mixed 4-ball. I think that would be amazing. But like beyond that, some of my favorite like tournaments to play in are like the state mixed four ball and the MGA's mixed Pinehurst and like stuff like that are just like fun. Different ways to like get more people included.
I think the meet and greet is not even a crazy idea. I think that's a simple.
Yeah.
I think knowing the people that I'm sure you know, the people that we've come across, like the idea of saying, "Hey, listen, can we have your spot for 2, 3, 4 hours, and we're going to bring in X amount of people?" I don't even think that's a big or crazy idea. I think you frankly could do that in 30 days and put something together to spread the word. I think that's an easy idea, especially with the winter coming. I mean, it's right.
Yeah.
What are people going to do? And I think when you talk
exactly.
about growing the game, to me, like it doesn't need to be competitive. You could do something closest to the pin on a long drive. Like there's many little different games on the simulator that you can play while also still being social, while also still like kind of selling what you have. I don't think that's crazy one bit.
Yeah, you could do like a closest to the pin, and then you get like a $50 gift card to use at one of the booths. You know, like something.
Simple.
Simple.
Yeah,
Totally.
I don't
You
think
guys
that's
can
crazy,
set up a podcast booth and do a podcast episode there too. We'll make that happen.
Listen,
I like that idea.
We're always looking to get out.
Yeah.
I do have one question to kind of wrap it up, because obviously we could probably grill you with a lot of questions, but you have been someone that's played a lot of golf here in the state of New Jersey, and you've been probably privy to a lot of special spots. What's been that one spot here in the state of New Jersey that you have played that if you got invited to again, you drop everything what you're doing and go back and play? But it can't be Pine Valley if you've played there, and it can't be Somerset Hills, your home course.
So I knew you were going to ask me this because I've watched a lot of your episodes, and I know you're not going to like my answer.
Wow.
I actually haven't played that much golf in New Jersey, which is kind of wild. Like if you were to pull up like the Golf Digest New Jersey ranking, I have probably only can count on one hand from the top 25 the courses that I've played. Like
no way.
Yeah.
Don't buy it.
Name names. Give us the
Don't
list.
buy it. Don't buy it.
I would love if someone would like to be kind enough to invite me to Plainfield. I would love to play Plainfield. Never played Plainfield. Essex County, I've never played. Would love to play Essex County.
You'll fall in love with Essex County.
I would love to play Matitaconk. Never played there. What else we got? Go ahead.
You've never played like Baltusrol?
Oh, I grew up playing at Baltusrol. So
right. Okay. That's what
I don't count that either.
So Baltusrol is Somerset. Okay. So then if we're going down the list, 4, 5 is Plainfield, 6, Ridgewood.
I love Ridgewood. I have family there. Special place in my heart. Special place in my heart. I played Mountain Ridge. Love Mountain Ridge. I will say though, I think that because I only played Somerset for the first time once I joined, which was like 4 years ago. And I love Somerset. There's just like nowhere like it. But I think the more that I play, the more courses that I play wherever they are, I start to like consider the vibe of the rest of the club and not just think about the golf course when I visit somewhere, if that makes sense. And like a lot
Very
of
much so.
Yeah, like when I think of my like personal rankings, I don't even necessarily think about the course a lot of the time. I just think of like the experience, how I felt there, who I was with, how I came away feeling, and then the course. Like I'm a sucker for views too, so if there's good views at a course, I might rate that a little higher personally. But yeah, like I think
That's me. I'm a big vibes guy. The whole experience counts in my, when you're going to a place, like how you feel is a big part of it.
Yeah. There's so many cool spots. Like there's so many great spots that like Ridgewood, I think of, when you're like the community is just like, they make you feel welcome. there's a lot of places in New Jersey like that you just get the good vibes.
We'll have to put the PSA out there for you to get to these spots, because I think
Yeah.
a phone call or two can be made, a simple DM or text. It could happen. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Would love that.
Well, Christina, I really want to say thank you for coming on. Quite a journey you've had with golf, and looking forward to seeing you continue to grow and see where the career goes from there.
Thanks so much. Exciting to talk to you both. That was great.
Yeah, for sure. Take care.